Hello, it's Spence, the evil genius, with your lab secrets tip of the day. Today I'm going to show you how to create gorgeous call to action buttons for your SocialGO version 2 site. These call to action buttons allow you to monetize your site by directing people where you want them to buy now or do now or anything that's relevant to marketing the information or the other things on your site. Let me show you how easy it is to set them up and get started with your LabSocial plan. First of all, we want to go to our sister site, which is over here. And you'll notice I've also got the call to actions on this side. Now we click on the dashboard where the new button maker is located. Once we're on the admin dashboard side, you can see the button maker on the left side. Here I've set up a couple buttons which are in the demo. And these, by the way, have the nice rollover action that I can style any way I want. Let's click on Add New and create a new one for this tutorial. First thing that happens once you go onto this site is you can name it. So I'll call this button 3. I can also give it a description. Sell my ebook. Whatever you want, this is for your information alone. Now, the URL is where do you want people to go when they click on the link? And in this case, maybe we want to take them to the Lab Store. Next, we want to put text in there that will show up on the button. Buy our book. Hey, that's a good idea. Now, it's also important to click on Open in a new window because that way people won't be taken away from your original site. You always want to keep them there, remember. You can adjust, by the way, over here whether or not the background is the color of your page so that you can get a realistic look at what the buttons will look like with your color scheme. Since I have a kind of whitish background, I'll leave that alone. Next, you can change the font style. I'm a fan of Tahoma. I can change the size. Maybe I want to make it super jumbo. Well, maybe that's a little too big. Let's try 20 pixel. Maybe 18 is better. Hey, I like that. Okay, you could do normal or italic, and you could change it from normal to bold. You can also do some text shadow, but since this is 2011, I don't think you want to mess with that too much. Padding is the amount of space around the text. So if we wanted to get super crazy here, we could put 30 pixels above, but then it would look a little lopsided. I think that by default, you're okay by leaving these parameters alone and just making the colors different. So let's scroll down to the page and do that. And here we've got this green color, so let's change that to something else. Maybe we're going to go with red. So I can use this nice WYSIWYG editor, and I can drag this up into the top right corner. This is the starting color at the top. The next is I want to change the bottom color, which is the ending point. So I start here, and I'm going to do something that's in the same family, but maybe a little farther down into the gray range. Let's see how that looks. Hey, that's pretty nice. Remember, light on the top, dark at the bottom, just like when the sun is shining down. I want to change the border. Obviously, this is no longer green, so let's get into the red family, but we're going to keep it really close to the dark side. And that looks pretty nice. And now we do the same thing for the rollover state. This is what the button will look like when you move your mouse over it. So let's start with the gradient top, and maybe when we roll over, we're going to do something in the purples. Could be a crazy button, doesn't matter. Okay, same idea. We're going to do the bottom part of the button. See that? Let's do that the same way. We're going to click in the purple family. We're going to move it up in the top, and then we're going to drag it down a little bit, make it a little more shadowy. And then let's change also. And same idea. We'll make it a nice purplish dark border. I think those are pretty nice. Now, we can also change the font color if we wanted to on either the existing state or the rollover state. Well, I'm going to just change it on the hover state, which means when I roll my mouse over, and maybe I'm going to do something really crazy here. Do a little blue. I don't know if this is going to look good, but it'll definitely show you what we can do. Once I'm done with that, I want to click on the Save button. When I do, it'll be added to the other buttons that I've created, and I can use these anywhere I want. Now I want to go ahead and click on the button maker one more time so I can bring up the list of the buttons I've created. And you'll notice that each of them have a unique ID. This is ID 1, this is ID 2, this one is ID 4. Now, whenever I want to grab the style to add this, I'm going to use my Firebug. So I'm going to right-click on the button, and I'm going to choose Inspect Element. Now, because of the way the screen is set up, I can't show you the inspect element. It'll show up too low, but I'm going to right click, inspect element. And when I do, Firebug is going to pop up. Now, remember, Firebug gives us on the left side the actual HTML of the button, but what we want is the style. In order to get this in a way I can copy it, just click on any of the right-hand side links. When you do, all of these elements are the ones that are going to be applying to this particular button. So I want to use Command A or Control A, so I can select everything, and then I want to right click and copy these. Now, once I do, I'm going to go back over to my editor that we've used in the other tutorials in order to add this to the style sheet. So I've got my editor open here, and you'll notice it's under Plugins, Editor. And remember, we want to make sure we choose the LabSecrets V2 plugin. And finally, the style sheet called Lab Style. Now, I have my other button here, and you notice I added a little bit of a note, which you can do by adding the 2 slashes, the 2 stars, and saying something like button for styling. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to add a little space. I'm going to paste in that style sheet elements that I just copied. Okay. When I do, I scroll down and click Update File. Now, this is the fun part. I can now use this particular button anywhere I want, again and again and again. It's super easy. So let's go over to our SocialGO version 2 site. And if I'm not already logged in, I want to log in on the right side. And then I want to go to Website Management, Site Builder. And when I do, I'll be taken to a page that looks like this, where I can go ahead and create a new page, or I can use an existing page. Now, in this case, I did add a new page, and I called it Buttons. And the next thing I did is I dragged a text box up from the bottom. You can go ahead and use text. And when I did, I can go ahead and add a little code in there to show you how to use the buttons. So if I scroll over here, I just use my regular text editor. And I like to work in source mode, but you can work in WYSIWYG mode. Now you say, hey, Spence, I don't know how to code in HTML. Of course you don't, and you don't need to, because remember, when we go back over to our button editor, that's all provided for us. Remember, right-click, inspect element, and remember how the first thing that popped up on the left was the HTML? Guess what? That's all you need to copy. So copy the HTML, go back over here to your SocialGO side, and hey, watch this. Just paste that right in. Couldn't be any easier, right? That's all there is to it. Now, I go ahead and click Save. We can go back to our page on SocialGO, and we reload it. If you ever want to use this a second, a third, a fourth time, no problem at all. You can use it anywhere you want. Let me show you. If I go to my site builder, maybe I want to go to my welcome page. So let me go ahead and add a new widget in. I'm going to add an HTML widget. And I'll just say, this is button 1. I'll paste that in, say save, and that's it. When I go back over to my welcome page, you'll see that below the video, hey, look at that, call to action. Let's rock and roll. And you'll notice when I roll over this, the link color changes and it takes me to the plans page on LabSecrets. All of the code you need to get started, including some sample buttons, will be available inside of your LabSocial toolkit. And if you have any questions, you can always reach us at help@labsecrets.com or just come on and visit us at the website. This is Spence, the evil genius. We'll see you next time.